And joining us now on our book talk segment, great to welcome two guys who have written a very interesting and a bit controversial book. We'll find out about that. It's called Vodka Is Vegan, a vegan brother's manifesto for better living and not being, and I'll say the title as it's pronounced on the cover, not being an a-hole. And we're joined today by Matt Letten and Phil Letten, known as the Vegan Brothers. Gentlemen, good to talk with you. How are you?
We're doing amazing. Thanks so much for having us on.
Yeah, good to have a chance to talk with you. And again, we'll kind of keep this PG, but the book is a little more provocative, but that's fine. And it's an entertaining book, but very interesting the way you wrote this. But a little controversy. I've been reading some of the articles about it. Is that I guess that helps a book, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, you know what? We wrote this book to sort of usher in the age of the new vegan. Whereas in the past there was sort of a stereotype associated with eating vegan, but today we have people from all walks of life who are exploring this lifestyle. You know, everyone from police, military, investment bankers, pilots, pastors of churches, and we've got celebrities and professional athletes going vegan in droves now. Mm-hmm. And a big reason that we see this happening is because basically everyone is opposed to animal abuse, and when they learn about these horrific abuses that these animals are enduring on factory farms and slaughterhouses, they're horrified. And they want to make changes to their diet, after they learn.
Yeah, and you describe in the book, and I've seen things over the years, and you watch some videos of what goes on. You're right. If you really thought about how you got the steak to your table or the chicken to your table, you might think twice about it. But it's not pretty.
Oh, totally. And I mean, to us, it's like that's why people are going vegan in droves. And it's even things are shifting so much lately that you even have billionaires like Richard Branson, Bill Gates, and the Google guys, who they see the writing on the wall, and they see that the future is vegan, and they're cashing in. They're investing in plant-based companies like Beyond Meat, Impossible Foods, and companies like that. We've even got two of the largest meat companies in the world, Tyson Foods and Cargill. Even they've begun investing in plant-based foods. So, I mean, the way we see it, even the meat industry is moving toward a vegan diet.
And we grew up red-blooded American guys, like about an hour outside of Detroit in a small town, and we grew up eating meat every meal of the day, and we realized that we're at this place where, like, if we made the change, like, we know everyone's thinking about it, and we know the truth, like, if you're opposed to animal cruelty like Americans are, you're already 90% of the way we're trying to go. Mm-hmm. Your diet's just like the last 10% of figuring it out.
Yeah. Well, before we get into more of the in-depth of the book, let's kind of go over your guys' story a little bit, and it's an interesting story. I guess, Matt, start with you. Give a brief rundown of what changed your mind, other than when you found out how meat was made, but what caused you to go vegan?
Sure. So Phil was actually the first one to go vegan, but prior to that, we were actually raised with a really bad, negative view of vegetarians. So it's interesting that both of us have kind of shifted this way in our lives. But for me, I was about to die, if I'm being honest. When I was 20 years old, I was 100 pounds overweight. I was diagnosed with pre-hypertension when I went in for a routine physical, and it was kind of in that year where I realized, wow, I don't know what to do here. I'm in a really bad place, and I need to figure out a way to change my life. The amazing part is I started adopting fitness, and I was the kid that went to school growing up and got doctor's notes to get out of gym class. Yeah. So I was in a bad place. I ended up started going to the gym, started learning about nutrition. I lost 100 pounds, and during that process, I started becoming more open to things that I could have been wrong about in the past, where I was eating, double cheeseburgers and, all of that stuff like cheese fries and everything on a daily basis. Now I was starting to think more about what I was doing. And really, that's what brought me to this place where I had always identified as an animal lover growing up. And then Phil had kind of helped me realize that, I loved my dog, but I wasn't making the connection to, other animals. And when I found out about the ways that, pigs, chickens, cows are treated on factory farms, which is where most of our meat comes from at the grocery store, when I found out about that, I was absolutely floored. And, like anyone, when you kind of find out about that and you're floored, you end up kind of adjusting things a bit. And, I ended up going vegetarian and eventually vegan, following Phil's footsteps.
Yeah, Phil, I guess he just kind of told your story a little bit, but did you encourage your brother, or did he just kind of follow along on his own?
So, I mean, it is a crazy story. So I ate meat for the first 17 years of my life, and at 17, that's when I first learned how animals were treated on factory farms. And up until that point, I was eating meat every day, but I still considered myself an animal lover or someone who was at least opposed to animal abuse. So when I learned about this, it was like a shock. I was shocked because on one hand, I'm opposed to animal abuse, but then on the other hand, I'm looking at this video and it's like I'm funding this on a daily basis. So I began to I didn't go vegan right away, but I began to make some changes. And when I did go vegan, though, I did take on what we consider like the stereotypical abrasive vegan persona of the past. Whereas, like, in the past, vegans were more, probably seen as more abrasive, and I would sort of took on that persona. And Matt took on the opposite persona, like he's resisting me. So I'm like forcing it on him, and he's like the anti-vegan. Eventually, I calmed down. I read some things about effective communication, and I sort of calmed down, became more laid back, and I was, sort of was allowing him to do his own thing. And that's when he changed. And so things shifted. We both ended up vegan, and now we're here. We are.
Well, let's talk about the great title. How does Vodka Is Vegan is the title. How does vodka fit in? I know a lot of people are interested in that part of it.
Well, we think, first of all, you can read the book whether you drink alcohol or not. That's not a big part of the book, but it is a big part of our point. In the past, there was this stereotype that it was this all or nothing proposition, and only a certain type of person is vegan. And basically, our approach, because our lives, we didn't start off as vegans. We started off as anti-vegans, like a lot of people do. You just don't know about it. Mm-hmm. And what we see is it's so accessible and so easy that's kind of the way we invite people in. This is not an all or nothing proposition. We're not demanding that you go vegan in one day or climb Mount Everest in one day. We want you to figure out what works for you and help you along on your journey, whether that's, Meatless Mondays, which are a great place for people to just explore vegan eating, and kind of go from there.
I know down here, particularly, we're Sarasota area, there's a lot of Whole Foods and health food types of stores now. It's a lot easier now if you decide to go that route. A lot more food's available, whereas maybe 15, 20 years ago, it was tougher, wasn't it? To find the food you wanted.
Night and day. I mean, it's night and day. I mean, nowadays, it's obvious with billionaires like Richard Branson and Bill Gates investing in this stuff, and Tyson Foods and Cargill jumping on board. I mean, it couldn't be more obvious. But I mean, yeah, there's Whole Foods. I mean, even grocery stores. I mean, even Walmart. I mean, it's easy to go grocery shopping as a vegan at Walmart, and there's all these different fast food chains, and even the regular restaurant chains. There's vegan options. It's just vegan options galore all over the place, and it's never been easier.
And that has a lot to do with with money. I mean, the fact is, Phil was talking about some of the billionaires like Richard Branson, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos from Amazon. These people are really seeing what's going on from an environmental perspective, from an animal treatment perspective, from a health perspective. Everyone's looking at it, and they're actually funding the future. So we're now getting an opportunity to see where things are going. It's so amazing that we even have like meat companies that are actually investing and funding it. I mean, it is absolutely an amazing time to be alive. Yeah,
and then we have limited time, but you do have a lot in the book about plant-based burgers that apparently taste exactly like hamburger. It's a lot better now than it used to be, where it's just kind of thrown together beans and stuff, but they can make them pretty accurate now, right? They taste like meat?
Oh, I mean, it's amazing now, and those are two of the companies that are receiving a lot of funding from these billionaires are Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods. Beyond Meat has the Beyond Burger, and they actually just came out with something called the Beyond Sausage, and Impossible Foods has their Impossible Burger. And both of those companies, I mean, they've been revolutionary in that, like, the products that they make, I mean, they taste the same, the texture is the same. I mean, they fool people on mainstream media. In the mainstream media, they do, like, taste tests. And I mean, the food is becoming. I mean, it's becoming delicious. It's amazing.
And the coolest thing about is, the flavor profiles are at or beating, beef or meat-based burgers, and they're just better in every way, and they're healthier for you too.
We just got about 30 seconds left. Give out your website, guys. People get more information about the book.
Yeah, so the book, you can learn more at book.veganbros.com, and you can also find it basically anywhere books are sold.
Great, Matt and Phil. Letten have been our guests. Vodka Is Vegan is the name of the book. Gentlemen, pleasure talking to you. Hopefully we can do it again. Thanks for being with us.
We love it. Thanks so much.